Information and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Welcome to today's lesson on food care. In our last lesson, we studied the final stages of digestion, which include absorption, assimilation, and egestion. We learned that villi are important structures within the small intestine that increase surface area and absorption. We also discussed how food molecules are diffused into the bloodstream and distributed throughout the body. Today, we will discuss why food should be handled and eaten with care. We will also discuss ways in which canned, packaged, and bottled foods are protected from spoilage. Let us begin. Maintaining a balanced diet composed of nutritious foods is very important for your health. It is also equally important to practice hygiene and safety measures when preparing food. There are many food-borne diseases that can contaminate food. If you come into contact with these diseases, they can cause illness or death. For example, bacteria called Salmonella can contaminate raw meat or raw eggs. If a person ingests the food, he or she can become very ill with symptoms such as diarrhea and vomiting. Most often, people can overcome food poisoning. However, children, the elderly, and people already suffering from health problems could be seriously affected. There are many ways to keep food from spoiling or spreading diseases. Students, for our first activity, can you think of some ways you and your family ensure that your food is prepared and stored to avoid contamination? Make a list of all your ideas, and I will see you in a few minutes.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, class. I am sure some of your lists are similar. There are a few common methods that people use to ensure their food is safe. Maintaining strict food hygiene when preparing food will ensure diseases do not spread and that you will stay healthy. Raw meat and eggs should be stored separately from fresh vegetables and fruit. It is also important to use clean materials when preparing food. Knives, utensils, and work surfaces should always be cleaned before they come into contact with food. Also, it is important to clean these materials when you are using them with different foods. For instance, the knife used to cut meat should be washed before it is used to cut vegetables or bread. The most important method of maintaining food safety is by washing your hands, especially in between handling different types of food and after using the toilet. Students, take a minute to consider all the things hands do and touch in a day. Share your ideas with a classmate.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello again. Some examples you could have said are that hands pet animals, touch surfaces, build things, clap, and touch other people's hands. As I am sure you know, hands are very busy. Therefore, by washing your hands carefully, germs can be prevented from spreading and contaminating food. Some food is preserved to last longer and to prevent bacterial growth. Let us discuss 4 ways to preserve food: canning, bottling, vacuum packing, and drying. Canned food is heated to high temperatures and sealed in containers so it cannot be exposed to air. Bacteria cannot grow if they are deprived of oxygen. The method of bottling food uses glass bottles and often a sugar syrup or brine to package food. Like canned foods, this method begins by heating the food in order to kill the bacteria and then sealing the food. Vacuum packing is a method of food preservation in which the food is placed in a package and the air is sucked out from the package as it is sealed. This leaves the food free from air exposure and therefore bacterial contamination. As food is dried, all water is removed. Without water, bacteria cannot grow, so the food remains sterile. These methods of preserving food should ensure that the food lasts a long time and is safe to eat. However, it is important to maintain food safety even when using preserved foods. Students, what could you do to make sure preserved foods are still safe to eat?
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, students. I am sure you came up with an excellent list of precautions. It is important to check the best before date on cans or packages of food. Most businesses put best before dates on preserved food to indicate when the food may not taste as good as it is supposed to. It is not advisable to eat any food that is past its expiration date to avoid the risk of contamination. It is also recommended to check the package for any damage that could potentially let in air. If the food is exposed to air, the microorganisms that cause disease could grow on the food. Once the preserved food has been opened, it should be eaten quickly. If there is some remaining, keep it sealed and stored in a cool place to keep the temperature of the food as low as possible. Check containers for bulging. If bacteria have contaminated the food, they can produce gases which can make the food container become misshapen. This brings us to the end of our lesson. Today, we learned about food care. We discussed why food should be handled with care, as well as sanitary ways to prepare and store food. Until next lesson, thank you, teacher. Thank you, students.